boys and girls, today we have an exciting activity ahead of us. We are going to learn how to create a three-dimensional snowflake. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, but Miss Green, what does a snowflake have to do with what we're learning in class? Well, let me tell you, we are going to use our geometry skills and knowledge and put that to the test as we create the snowflake. Alright, so for our supplies, we are going to need 3 pieces of paper, 1 ruler that has centimeters on it, 1 pencil with a good eraser, scissors, glue, and a stapler for the end. Alright, the first step is we're going to take our paper, fold it in half as such, and once you've folded it, you'll open it back up, and taking your scissors, cut very carefully down the line, cutting this paper in half. After you have 6 halves, we're going to first take one of the halves and taking the bottom corner right here, you're going to line it up parallel to this top part of the rectangle, making sure that the crease is right in the corner, and crease this all the way down. What we are doing is we're creating a square by taking 2 triangles, one right here and one right here, laying them on top of each other, and then cutting this side off. By cutting this off of the rectangle, we're left with a square. Now, I want you to repeat this process for all 6 of these rectangles so that we can have 6 squares. Now that we have our 6 squares, we're going to take our first square and fold over the crease that we had just previously made. And then once having that crease, we're going to fold over again, making a second crease, making a smaller triangle. Now that we have our smaller triangle, we know that in geometry, the longest part of the triangle is called the hypotenuse. So for our sake, we are going to name this side A, this side B, and this side the hypotenuse. Now, taking your ruler, you're going to line it up on side A. So, our centimeters are lined up against this line on side A, and we're going to make 4 tick marks. The first one are going to be in 2 centimeter increments. So we're going to go 1, 2, make a tick mark, 3, 4, tick mark, 5, 6, tick mark, and the last one will just be 1 centimeter away from the edge, which will be around at this 9 right here. Now that we have our 4 tick marks, we're going to take our last tick mark and we're going to create a line of reference. This reference is going to tell us when to stop cutting, and so taking your ruler, you're going to try and draw a parallel line right next to side B, as so. And that is your line of reference. Now we are going to rotate our triangle to put it on side B. This is B, this is A, this is the hypotenuse. Now taking our 3 tick marks that we had just made, we are going to take the first tick mark and line our ruler up parallel to the hypotenuse. And so drawing our parallel line, we are going to draw it all the way up into the line of reference and then stop. So you don't want to draw to the edge. And each line should get shorter as you draw. And now your triangle should look like this. Now it's time to cut. Taking your scissors and your triangle in hand, we're going to start right here on side A and cut along our line, but do not cut past the reference line. Do that for all 3 lines that we drew parallel to the hypotenuse. And then when you finish that, we will see what we made. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to do what we call rolling. Taking these middle flaps, they're the smallest ones, we are going to roll them together like so. And taking our glue, we're going to put 1 tiny dot of glue on the edge and glue the flaps together like this, creating a rolled piece. Now I would suggest holding onto this for about 10 to 15 seconds to make sure the glue dries and that the flaps stay together. Now, when you feel like your flaps are dried together, we are going to flip this square over and repeat the same process with the second flaps. And again, we're taking the most inner flaps and going out. So I'm going to do my dot of glue, my flaps right here, and press together with my fingers to make sure that it stays. Now, as you can see, we are nearing the end of this snowflake leaf. Once we finish this, we are actually going to repeat this whole process 5 more times to make 6 of these leaves. Now we have made our 6 snowflake leaves, and we are going to now put them together to create our full 3-dimensional snowflake. Taking our first leaf, we're going to find the corner or the edge of the leaf and put a dab of glue. And remember what I said about the glue is you don't want to have a lot, or else it takes a long time for it to dry and sometimes can get sloppy. But you want to take your next corner and push it together like this. And when you feel like that one is secure, you can add another dab of glue and add your third one. Now we have our 2 sets of this snowflake that we are going to put together to make the full snowflake. Taking the centers that we just glued, which should now be dry, we're going to place it over together like so. Use a stapler to staple it. Now that our center is stapled, to secure the snowflake, we want to take the edges like this and staple those also. Congratulations, you have just made your first 3-dimensional snowflake.